Yeah.
Martin Houston Show. National championship-winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaXSports. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. We're live, local, and ready to get things going on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, as well as 12:30 a.m. WTBC. Want to encourage you. You can also join us on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and we'll give you those handles in just a moment. It is a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to keep the conversation rolling. As you saw a few clips there, or heard some clips from this week's practice, as Alabama prepares to take on the Georgia Bulldogs in the SEC showdown, SEC championship game. The last team to beat the Georgia Bulldogs will have a chance to book in their streak. Think about that for a second. The team who ended their previous streak and started them on this one has a chance to end it. Can the Alabama Crimson Tide do that? We'll talk with DC Capstone report about his thoughts regarding that. We'll also take a little look back as well. You're tuned to the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. We're ready to get things rolling right here. So go ahead and get that, phone ready. 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline, 205-342-9904. Or as I said, send your thoughts to at the Martin Houston 35, Martin Houston 35 fan page on Facebook, or Martin Houston 35 on YouTube and the X/Twitter. You also catch us on MaXSports as well on Facebook. So great ways to get involved, great ways to interact. Either way, we'll work your thoughts, comments into the conversation. We'll look at the good, the bad, the ugly. We'll look at the turning points in the game. We'll talk about the SEC championship game and more. So with that said, good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning, DC. How you doing, sir?
Great. Good morning, Martin. Good morning, X.
All right. Before we move into the conversation, remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. All right, DC. I had Saturday was a fun game. Of course, Harvest Church didn't have church on Sunday, but we probably all should have been in church somewhere, at least been praying somewhere. Or as Coach Nick Saban said when he opened up his post game, his press conference on yesterday, he said the first thing he did was thank God that what could have happened didn't happen. He didn't say he thanked God for the win, but what could have happened didn't happen. DC, uh, just a quick overall thoughts from Saturday, and then we'll dig into that conversation.
Well, just a great game, great atmosphere. Always when Alabama and Auburn play at Auburn, it's a great game. It has been for the last several years that we played there. And I just thought that what a fitting way to end that game because of the way the game had played out. It was one of those games that was close that I didn't think was needed to be that close at all. I think there was one turning point in the game that caused that, and so because when that happened, I think the way they ended was fitting, and I was glad to see that we had some individual performances that maybe overshadowed by the way the and by the way that the people think that Alabama played in that game because of the way things panned out. But overall, when I look at the big picture, Alabama had so many yards of offense and held Auburn in check, except for about 3 gashing plays, and so I think we got a lot to hang our hat on in that game, and then there's a lot of things we can improve on.
All right. Well, let's look at it. Let's start off with a little bit of the good, bad, and the ugly. We'll start off with let's just start off with the good, and we'll work our way from there. I'll let both of you share what Even though we had this segment on yesterday, we really didn't get into it with Kennington because we had a lot of callers. So, what was your good from Saturday?
Well, I think my good was just the overall performance of the Alabama team as a whole, just for the whole game, in what you see, the good things that people didn't really see, and that is offensive performance that we had, the defensive stops when we needed them. There were no pre-snap penalties. I thought that was good. And I thought that just the resiliency to not give up. I think you and I have been critical of this team about giving up during hard, and because they can't handle hard well. And I don't know of anything harder than being down with 4th and 31 and being able to come back. And people say that's a miracle play. I don't think it's a miracle at all. I mean, it was a play that was 1 in a million to happen, but it took a lot of skill to make that play happen. It wasn't a Hail Mary. It wasn't just to throw it up and somebody catch it. It was a skill in that. So there was a lot of skill in that and a lot of good that came out of that. So that's my good.
I'm gonna circle back on. I'm gonna circle back on the one of the things you said. I think part of their performance was good, but other parts not. But and I think we'll dig into that possibly with the bad and the ugly. But go ahead, X.
Yeah, I think when you look at the just the resiliency, as DC said, the fact that this team didn't give up, that they didn't fold at the end of the game, is what would be the good for me. But there was a lot of.
Did you do what? Did you just? It was what?
But there was a lot of ugly within the game.
All right.
Just as a whole.
All right. DC, you said the good was the way this team played, and I agree. Resiliency at the end was next level, off the chart. Good, but how this team still to me, and this is you guys have talked about the good, and I agree with the good, and the biggest good is that we won the game, right? Another quick good was that did they really sack our quarterback? I'm not sure if they did, it was late. There was no free runners to the quarterback. There was a lot of good there. But I think they create their own challenges. And so they still to me have the same problem. And against Georgia, it will cost us. It takes them too long to respond when something bad happens. It just does, and that hasn't changed to me, DC. Yeah, if you look at the overall composite, they didn't quit, but this team was so dominant. The good of that game was the way it started, DC, and they were absolutely dominant. And I'm going to work the turning point in this game. I don't understand how you could dominate a team the way we did and then have a penalty touchdown call back and then a bad punt, and it looks like you quit playing. That's where I would transition to bad. Was after the punt of Burnip until the fumble, Auburn dominated that game. DC?
Yeah, I'll agree with you. That was going to be my turning point in the game was the callback end around, great play call, great design, holding callback. Once that was called back, once it was called back, I think that's a turning point. Here's my thing: Alabama scores. Alabama has stopped them 3 and out. They go down and score easily, dominate. They stop them again, get off the field. They get the ball back. They go down and score again. That would make it 14-0 had that not been called back. In my mind, momentum never changes after that as long as Alabama keeps their foot on the gas. Because Auburn at that point, I think the crowd's out of it. I think Auburn's out of it. I think they give up. But we gave them momentum by what we did, the penalty and then the poor punt. We gave all the momentum to Auburn, and you're right. We didn't recover well. We didn't handle that hard well there. We didn't do that. So that in my mind was. It was a turning point in the game. I mean, it was the bad part of Alabama play. And as X said earlier, there was other bad plays throughout the game. But I think the crowd and Auburn had a little bit to do with that. I gave a lot of criticism to Seth McLaughlin's snaps. I think his snaps were off in this game. I'm not sure why. But then I hear from others who said that, that Auburn was almost every play trying to mimic the snap count or the call or the clap or whatever. So I know he was up against that as well. So, but yeah, there's a lot of bad plays that followed that play. That play is, in my mind, the turning point. I think Alabama wins by more than 3 touchdowns, and it's not even close if that score is held up and it's 14-0.
And to my point, that's where this team still struggles. It is recapturing or not losing momentum because of a one play swing. When something bad happens, you can look for it to happen for several drives, both offensive, defensive, special team. It's like it impacts the whole team, and that has been, unfortunately, a consistency all throughout the year, and it worries me, concerns me, going into a Georgia team that has equal talent to Alabama. You will not overcome a 2 or 3 series lapse on offense and defense against Georgia. In my opinion. X, your thoughts?
No, I mean, I agree. I think if Alabama has something bad happen and they don't, stay focused, stay mentally tapped in, it can get ugly versus Georgia. I mean, there's a lot of teams that we can do that against, but Georgia's not one of them.
Coming back on the other side, we'll keep the conversation going. Great insight there, DC and X. We'll get more of your insight on the other side. We have a couple of our viewers listening and chatting. We'll work their comments in to the good, bad, and the ugly. We'll invite you to get in on the good, bad, and the ugly as well. 205-342-9904, or on the live stream, you're able to type in your comments and we'll work those into the conversation. We have DC Capstone Report, and we'll be back for more right here on your home for Alabama Sports, Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things pretty quiet on the roadways on this Tuesday morning. Of course, throughout the day, if you see conditions folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan's year-end closeout is on now with discounts up to $10,000. No reasonable offer will be refused. Townsend Nissan, and I'm Captain Ray. It's back, the Captain Ray and Randy College Football Forecast Show, where we pick the winners against the spread. Join me and Randy Smalley Friday evenings at 11 right here on Tide 100.9. 15 minutes of fun and information. It's presented by Randy Smalley Floor and Tile.
Team, it's snowing again tomorrow. They're predicting 2 to 3 feet.
'Tis the overtime season for Frank Snowplows.
Kelly, can you take another shift?
Let it snow. Quality driver applicants.
Hey guys, know anybody else with a D license?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The game of football is about pain. Ever since I was 5 years old, it's been all about football. It's been about running, jumping, blocking, tackling. I stopped playing at 31.
You're listening to Michael Robinson.
retired pro fullback.
I thought that foot pain was going to be with me for the rest of my life. I'm so glad I met Good Feet. I'm so glad those arch supports are in my shoes.
Come see us at 1800 McFarland Boulevard or at goodfeet.com. Hey, Crimson Tide fans, if you have an automobile problem while you're in town for the game, call Jeff's Towing. Anytime your car won't go and you need a tow, call Jeff's Towing, 205-361-3997.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A good supply of sunshine today, the high 51. Clear and cold tonight, the low 27. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 56. Thursday, partly sunny during the day. Rain moves in Thursday night. The high Thursday, very close to 60. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 32 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back in. If you're looking for a great place to eat, try Billy's Cooking Restaurant. They have 50-cent wing Wednesdays, fish Fridays, and soul food Sunday. Opening at 11 a.m. Wednesday through Sunday. Go by and tell them that Martin Houston, the Martin Houston Show, told you to stop by and give them a try, or call them at 205-652-8617. Go ahead and get your game day special order in, wings and rib combo. They'll get that ready for you for your Saturday tailgate as Alabama takes on Georgia, the Georgia Bulldogs. That's Billy's Cooking Restaurant. Also, check them out on Facebook at Billy's Cooking LLC. All right, DC, we're talking the good, the bad, the ugly. One of the things that was bad, it was ugly, whichever way you want to call it, is Seth's snap. And I'll let you talk through. You kind of briefly mentioned that, and I'll let you talk through it. I probably have a different opinion than everybody else on Seth snaps, but I'll save that comment after you talk, and then we'll go from there.
Well, I mean, I've mentioned it all year. The snapping. I said it's going to come back to haunt us, and I think it did in this game. I'm not talking about the last snap that was gone. I guess because he snapped it based on what everybody said that was there and on the field and reporters and different things that the snap count was manipulated. It should have been called a penalty on Auburn. But even that snap was didn't hit Milroe in the hands. If it hit him in the hands, at least it wouldn't roll 20 yards. So my point is he was off somehow. I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if he's concentrating on blocking more than snapping. But my best friend was a center, Gary Shores, he's the reason I do the DC Capstone report. He's the one that got me started in that. He's since passed away, but he was a center, and he made me well aware that the most important job of a center is first to get the ball in the quarterback's hands. And I think that's been lacking this year. It was bad in this game. It improved some, and I'm not sure what happened in this game, but it seemed to me that he wasn't the only one. It seemed like we reverted back to a lot of our pre-Tennessee play in this game. I think Jalen Milroe didn't play his best, and definitely
hold on to that thought before we go, because agree with the pre-Tennessee thought process. Because we want to dig into that a little bit.
Snaps were definitely an issue in this game, and I don't discount the fact that he couldn't get the ball. I'm talking about even when he got the ball in his hands, that his eyes were down. He wasn't able to look downfield, and that's never good when you're in a pistol formation. You always want your eyes downfield. You don't want to be, as a quarterback, thinking about getting the snap. The snap should be something that's easy for you to do. It should be the easiest thing of your read on that play is to get that ball in your hands. And Seth McLaughlin definitely did not make it easy for Jalen Milroe in this game.
Yeah, and so X, any thoughts on that? Hold on. We got a caller that may want to talk about the bat snap. Let me check. Todd, you're in on the Alabama One hotline with Martin, Xavier, and DC. What's on your mind?
Hey, good morning, guys. Thank you for taking my call. Yeah, on those snaps, that center, man, he's the quarterback of the line, and most important part because this starts with him. And so, yeah, there's something going on. You know, Auburn, you know, the Mike, you know, he's the quarterback of that defensive little box right there. You know, and he could be making sounds, shifts. You know, Georgia's got that little funky shift that they do with their defensive line. I've seen our defensive line start to do that shift as well, and that gets the offensive line thinking a little bit different, jumping, a little antsy. Yeah, man. Yeah, Seth, he's got a tall order to get this corrected, and not have Milroe question his ability to get the ball in his hands. And like you just said, Milroe's eyes need to be downfield. And you best believe Georgia, they're going to try to figure out a way to yell a cadence, something to shift, right when they think the ball needs to snap. And then that center, man, he's got a, is it Milroe clap or is it them? You know, their noise. It's a tough job, guys. I'm not giving him a pass.
No, I mean it can be a tough job, but this has been the issue with Seth all year, and there's ways that you can fix that. At one point in the season, and we've seen it done in the past over the years, you have the left or right guard turn around, look, get the okay from the quarterback. He hits the center on the hip, and then the center gets set and snaps it. That's an easy way to fix that. If that was something that was going on through the course of the game, which we saw with bad snaps, we don't know if it was Auburn simulating it the entire game or if that was just that one time. But if there's bad snaps, if the communication is off, you have to make adjustments. And as DC said, this Alabama offense looked like it did pre-Tennessee again. We don't know why Jalen ran for over 100. But if he wanted to, he could ran for 200.
Hold it. The post Tennessee, because I think that's a conversation by itself. Todd, my thoughts on the snaps is simply this: Did that one play potentially bail Seth McLaughlin out? And everybody is talking about up on further review and all of that. Yeah, okay. The guy slapped his hands. Okay, in MHS 047, he's saying it too. That stadium was so loud they couldn't hear Jalen clap.
Right.
Okay. I mean, listen. That's what we said was causing the problems in the beginning. Is the stadium is so loud, you have to have something other than a clap to be your snap count when you go into a stadium like that. So I'm gonna put that on coaching. You have to have something like your reason, Xavier. But here's the reason I don't buy the clapping situation. Who all's listening for the snap, guys? Who all's listening for the clap? The whole offensive line, right? Why was no one else jumping off sides? Why was no one else anticipating that? How many times did Seth snap the ball and no one else was even prepared to move? Because the reality of it is, DC, at Todd, when everybody anticipates the snap count, offense and defense, and when you hear the clap, you get what? Ready to move. Okay? And we had snaps where a couple times where it about knocked Jalen down, where it hit him in the stomach and he caught it bouncing off his pads, right? But DC hinted at it. That snap, let's say, okay, I'm going to give him credit. The snap was bad because the timing, okay? But that snap was snapped so hard and so far to the right, it didn't come close to hitting Jalen or the run. It literally split between the two guys and then rolled 20 plus yards. That's, to me, the problem we've had all year. Is it's not just the timing of snaps, it's been the inerrant snaps that he's had. And let me tell you something. If we go by the clap, we're going to get all types of pre-snap penalties Saturday, DC, because Georgia is the best in the country at shifting their guys right when they anticipate a snap count. And if we go in there and they see Jalen clap, then they're gonna do that shift right at the time that the offensive linemen are anticipating, and we'll get pre-snap penalties against Georgia. Your thoughts?
I agree 100%. One of my corrections is we're going to have to get back to what we've just been discussing, a better way to communicate. And we did that on some of the games. It goes back to we reverted back to pre-Tennessee. At the Tennessee game, we did change our snap count to use the guard to tap the center. And there's no reason we can't go back to lifting of the foot or using the guard to tap the center. All those are ways to communicate to make that well. If we don't do that against Georgia, we will make a lot of penalties, and we need to go. We need to get that fixed going into Georgia for sure, because they do manipulate the offensive lines by shifting and moving on defensive side of the ball. That's their trademark. We gotta have a way to adapt to that by using different communication methods.
And I hope that this thanks, Todd. Appreciate you, sir. And to me, what we need to do offensively is we have to be able to go on silent count. I mean, get up there to the line and be set and snap the ball. Why Georgia? We can anticipate. We can do some things to catch Georgia off. We have to be able to change our cadence. And people go, how do you change a cadence when you clap? Well, the clap may not be your snap count in this game. It may actually be him lifting his leg. Right? And so you clap, boom, boom, get Georgia to shift, and then you snap the ball based on his legs. There's so many things we could do. Someone told me that they think that the reason Alabama will not win this game is coaching. Is that true? We will see on Saturday. We'll ask your thoughts, your comments on the coaching. Coming back on the other side, we'll talk about the ugly, and then we'll get into, we've mentioned it a couple times, post pre-Tennessee performance. It's been hit on about 3 or 4 times, so we'll get into that conversation right here on the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things pretty quiet on the roadways on this Tuesday morning. Of course, throughout the day, if you see conditions folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan's year-end closeout is on now with discounts up to $10,000. No reasonable offer will be refused. Townsend Nissan, and I'm Captain Ray.
Join Tide 100.9 this Friday from 12 to 2 for Fridays at the Free. Come see Lars Anderson and Matt Coulter for Big Noon Sports live at Innisfree Irish Pub, Tuscaloosa's best bar for 25 years and counting. Innisfree's Irish Pub has delicious pub food with an Irish flair. Come have the Innisfree Lucky Lunch, a delicious meat and three, while Lars and Matt get you ready for the Bama game this weekend. Fridays at the Free, every Friday during football season with Tide 100.9 and Innisfree Irish Pub, located at 1925 University Boulevard, downtown Tuscaloosa.
You don't want to miss 60% off everything during the once-a-year Black Friday event only at your nearest Banana Republic factory store. Bring home must-have styles and gifting favorites with limited-time deals from just $15.
Philip M's, named for the great Choctaw tribal chief Philip Martin, is considered the best fine dining in the South. In addition to their award-winning wine selection, Philip M's offers everything from steaks and fresh seafood to extraordinary decadent desserts. Philip M's open Wednesday through Sunday. Book your table now at opentable.com and experience the best dining in the South. Philip M's, exclusively at the Silver Star at the Pearl River Resort.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And who doesn't want zero body odor? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 800 and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code 800. LUMEdeodorant.com, code 800 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. Love it or return it for free. That's LUMEdeodorant.com, code 800.
Nissan has a car for everyone. For every driver who wants more, whatever that more may be. More head-turning style, more electric, more zip. The Nissan Sentra and Altima will elevate your driving experience. Comfort and innovation come together to make getting from point A to B exhilarating. The Nissan Sentra and Altima have sports tune suspension that makes every road imperfection obsolete. When you drive a Nissan, there is no compromising your next adventure. At Nissan, more is all they do. So get your endless thrills in a new Nissan today.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
I don't really know. I think this is about this team, how they prepare for this game. Not very many guys on this team was on that team. Some of the guys were on that team, understood, what championship preparation is really all about. And I think their leadership and our message is going to be that's exactly what we need in this game. But it's hard to draw comparisons from people who didn't have that experience, sometimes. So, hopefully some of the older guys on the team will be able to give us the leadership that we need to be able to get that message across.
That's Coach Nick Saban talking about preparing for this particular game against the Georgia Bulldogs. I've been trying to find the comments. Blind Squirrel Sport been missing this week. Blind Squirrel is one of our faithful listeners. And Bam Bam 72 said Blind Squirrel must be staying away this week. He's a Georgia guy. I haven't seen him yet. Hopefully he's okay. But we'll follow up with him. We got DC Capstone Report on with us this morning. DC, tell us real quick where people can find you, sir.
Well, you can find me at DCCapstoneReport.com, DC Capstone Report Facebook page. You can follow us on Twitter at DavidCott50. Podcast is already up, and you can always look at Lance's other sites, RollTideBama.com and FreelancePictures.com. Lance did a lot of good posts about after that 4th and 31 game. You might want to check out all those he's got on RollTideBama.com. And I want to thank my sponsor, Karen Cottingham, with the Keller Williams Group here in Tuscaloosa. Realtor right here. She's all here for all your real estate needs at 205-887-4008.
All right. Let's keep things rolling, DC. Speaking of that, it's been some interesting posts out there. The Auburn folks had kind of popped out all of their cameras to show themselves running out on the field and all of that good stuff. And it just didn't pan out for them quite the way they expected. But I think the troll of the year has to come from Chris Stewart. Chris Stewart tweeted, he tweeted that if you're looking for a place to sit at church this morning, I recommend the back left corner. That's where some incredible blessings can be found. So I thought that was pretty. That may be as CJ Watson said, next level trolling right there, DC. But
most definitely.
Anyway, lots of good things coming out. Still looking for the name. I think I've settled on my favorite name, DC, before we get back into the conversation, and that's mine. Maybe 4th and 31. So
like it.
Yeah, someone sent that one to me. For those of you who may not understand my Alabama English, that's 4th and the number 30 WON. So 4th and 31. So I thought that was pretty creative. I love the thought of disaster in the pasture, DC, but that's the Auburn name.
Yeah,
that's what they're calling it.
That's right.
It wasn't a disaster for us. It was great for us.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of like double O over. That was my favorite, but everybody didn't catch on to that one.
Yeah, and I like Bond 0047.
Yeah.
Yeah, just put the force in there, and because he was caught the touchdown for 7. So double 047. So it's a lot of neat creativity. So, but I have like hundreds of them that we'll probably make fun of all throughout the year and have fun because, hey, kick 6, baby. On the anniversary of it, we
got 10 years to talk about it.
Yeah, hey, we got 10 years at least. We hope. Anyway, DC, really quick on the ugly. What did you have from an ugly standpoint?
Well, I don't usually mention this, but I'm just going to say, in my opinion, this was the ugly part. This was the worst officiated game for some SEC officials that I've ever seen in my lifetime, and I'm 60 years old. And I don't. Sometimes, somewhere, someplace, when you put that much ineptness on tape, there has to be accountability, and I don't know when it's going to happen. But I'm talking about on both sides of the ball, ineptness in the officiating, and in my opinion, just ugly.
Yeah, but it's the same crew from last Tennessee game, so they're consistent ugly. So same crew that called the Tennessee game last year called this one, and
Well, they hadn't gotten any better. Let's put it that way. They hadn't improved any.
The saddest part for me is they missed that field. They missed the face mask, and I wonder, did they not call the face mask because the block in the back caused the face mask? That's the only thing I can just think to justify that call. He got blocked in the back. That's what made him grab his face mask. Still a face mask. They should have called both, and they didn't. But the saddest part for me was the way Gary and the crew went off on how bad it was and said they will make that up. And I said, did they just say that on television?
And they did.
Yep.
And I'd be doggone if the first touchdown, they don't make it up. Because technically you can call holding on any play. And a lot of times they don't let holdings go. And even though it looks like a bad hold, he ran past that guy. He didn't grab that guy. He ran past him, had his arm out. He didn't turn him. It was just it was a hold call, but they could have called on several other runs. Then you add that to the 4th down and 2, where they had one guy in motion and then 2 other guys get up and go in motion. You can have 3 guys in motion. You just can't start one of them, then start the other 2 before that guy gets set.
Then the blindside block where you're not supposed to block the guy who's about to tackle your guy. That's not really that's not why the rule was implemented. They had a terrible interpretation of what that rule was implemented for, and it was not that play.
And then Burnham, what they did to Burnham, and then
and he was right on top of that. What makes it worse was he was right on top of it. It separated them.
He was right there, saw the whole thing, and then let it happen. That's and then the catch by I'm like, oh yeah, this they're gonna overturn this.
Oh yeah.
And but see, everybody talks about the replay.
Yeah.
Do you know how we got to the replay, DC?
Yeah, a guy that was 21 yards downfield overruled a guy that was in 6 feet of the call that called him in.
Yeah, the guy way back at the back of
same guy. That would be the same guy, in my opinion, that threw the flag on Kool-Aid McKinstry after he intercepted the ball at Tennessee. 20 yards downfield. Same guy.
Yep. So anyway, that was interesting. Got a couple callers we want to get to real quick, guys. I'm going to work you through really quick. Chuck Hunt, you're in with Xavier and DC. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning. I'm just chiming in what you all were talking about. I witnessed the game on my birthday Saturday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, thank you all. Thank you, Dree. And I witnessed that game after watching my parents on my mother Grambling. They lose a close game to Southern in the Bayou Classic, and turned over to that game and. I looked at the young man, Jalen Muro. Great that he redeemed himself after he went over the line of scrimmage and they penalized him for that, and for him to connect with Isaiah Bond. I'm so happy for those young men because look at people out here, stuff going on with trolling and people putting ugly messages out there. The social media age but And what you said, Brother Houston, you talking about changing the cadence. I agree with you about that. So, there are things coaches say, oh, yeah, well, I'm not changing anything. But, you play a school like the University of Georgia coming up. There are some things you might have to change in the game to be able to beat them because, let's face it, he's two-time national champion and won back-to-back national championships. And there are some things that may have worked in the other games, but you face a different opponent here.
Yeah. Thanks, Chuck, and belated happy birthday. Without a doubt, they're going to have to change some things. If we do the same thing, and it changed to me, maybe going back and going all in with our quarterback, as MH047 said against UA, turn Jalen Milroe loose. Let him run like he did against LSU. Jalen Hurts and Bryce Young both hurt UGA running in the SEC title game. So there you go. Alan, you're on with Xavier in DC. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning. Good morning. I saw that the post you made on my page. You were exactly right. I was trying to tell him about that center hiking the ball, and he kept telling me that it was Milroe's fault. But the more I looked at it, I finally convinced him last night. That it was not Milroe's fault, and he sent me a message. He won't tell me on Facebook, but he'll send me a private message. Say, yeah, he said you and Mr. Houston may be right. I said, I know we're right. So, and the good thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. I don't even see how somebody can even say that's Milroe's fault.
Yeah, I can. You just gotta know him. The other thing is, the good thing about this game, the best thing about this game, y'all, is that we don't have to hear Gary Danielson talk no more. He was a mediocre quarterback when he played in the NFL. He was awful when he played with the Detroit Lions. He was awful when he on TV, and we don't have to hear him no more. We just hope and pray that they don't sign him on to be a commentator when we have to next year. So we don't have CBS no more. We don't have to hear him no more. We just hope that his contract is up. Well, we don't have to hear him no more. And my last name, Martin, where do I get a T-shirt and a mug? Or I got to represent when I'm up here in Arkansas and all in Georgia. I got to represent. Where can I get me a T-shirt and mug at?
From me?
Yes.
Give what's the name of your address? Stay on the line and get Noah. Noah, grab Allen's address.
Now, who's calling the game for the championship game? It's still on CBS, isn't it?
I don't know who's calling it.
It's CBS at 3. So I'm assuming that we're going to hear it one more time.
Okay.
I'm sorry to break that to y'all.
It's pretty bad. Well, hey, let's get the break. Come back on the other side. DC X and I do a little rapid fire with you. Anything else real quick that you have from an ugly, just from a topic standpoint? Don't go into any depth that you want to hit on.
Not really. I mean, there was a lot of ugly plays. I called them bad plays in that game.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll come back on the other side and keep the conversation going. Hey, go check out Alabama One, alabama1.org is where you can find out exactly what we have going on. We got some great prices and promotions happening right now with our 5.3 CD for up to 12 months for personal and 5.72 for businesses. And if you happen to have $250,000 that you want to move from your institution to Alabama, one is up to 5.51. Great rates, great deals, great service, great people. Alabama One together. What's your one?
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things pretty quiet on the roadways on this Tuesday morning. Of course, throughout the day, if you see conditions folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan's year-end closeout is on now with discounts up to $10,000. No reasonable offer will be refused. Townsend Nissan, and I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread. Good Tuesday morning. The city of Tuscaloosa has stopped accepting plastic film to be recycled as of yesterday. Environmental Director Chris Megg said in 2018 processing regulations changed and the city no longer send out any certain plastic materials to China for processing. Meggs recommended shoppers switch over to reusable bags when grocery shopping to help protect the environment. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino's 7 days of giveaways is going on now. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. We're giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. That's right, Birmingham Racecourse Casino is giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. There's always more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Spoiled supermarket meat, sawdust like fillers, artificial preservatives?
Hold on there. I'm veterinarian Dr. Marty Goldstein. You don't want your dog eating any of that. These potentially harmful ingredients are found in many of today's popular dog foods, but not in Nature's Blend, a freeze-dried raw dog food with real cuts of meat, omega-3 rich seeds, and superfood veggies and fruit.
Nature's Blend is designed to help support your dog's playfulness, healthy skin, soft coat, easy digestion, and youthful mobility.
Your dog will go bonkers over Nature's Blend savory flavor and texture.
For a limited time, save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and receive a free festive holiday dog sweater with select orders. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511.
I guarantee it with a 100% 90-day return of your purchase price.
Offer available with select orders while supplies last. Text fees may apply. You may receive up to one additional text. Text stop to opt out. Paid for by Dr. Marty's Pets.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back in to the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports with Martin and Xavier and DC Capstone Report on talking to us about Georgia and Alabama, review of Alabama and Auburn. We got all of that going on. You can catch DC Capstone Report. His podcast is up. Go to dccapstonereport.com or Facebook page DC Capstone Report. Hey, remember Harvest Church? We'll be back up in Adam this Sunday. So we want to invite you to come join us at 9 a.m. on Sunday for Bible study, Sunday school, and then 10 a.m. worship time. Also, want to let you know, got a great event coming up on December 9th, 11 to 1, where we'll be blessing families. We're preparing 100 food bags. If you want to help support that, you can just let us know, and we'll be glad to assist you in assisting us. And we're going to be giving away some toys at our Christmas festival. That's December 9th, 11 to 1. Want more information? Just give me a call or email me, martin@martinhouston.org. All right, DC, lots going on. So many comments happening around Alabama football, and MHS 0407 says, I watched the game on CBS, but I muted and listened to Eli. Have to sync it up. You have to kind of sync it up, and if you have the DVR, you can slow your DVR down about 30 seconds, and then they'll be linked up for the most part. Maybe a little off on a commercial here or there, but for the most part, it'll be linked up if you have a DVR. If you don't, you'll always be a little bit ahead. So on the audio from slow down your YouTube. All right, I'll get it right in a minute. All right, DC, lots of things happening, but let's quickly kind of get into some conversation around the game. Any closing thoughts? We talked about this team, unfortunately, reverting back to pre-Tennessee. Do you put that squarely on the shoulder of the coaches?
Well, I think we went into a try not to lose mode, and I believe that's where we were playing prior to Tennessee, and so I think we made that revert. I think Jalen Milroe was coached not to run, not to get hurt. I don't know that he was coached that way, but it was put in his head that he didn't need to get hurt. He needed to stay in the pocket. I think that was what he was told prior to Tennessee. I don't think that's what Coach Saban is telling him. I hear Coach Saban say several times, "Why don't you run? Why didn't he run? He had plenty of room to run." So I'm not sure where it's coming from, but I think in the coaching somewhere it's not all in sync, and that's got to be fixed before this game. I really believe this is to be true. Alabama is very talented. Alabama's got skilled players. Alabama can win this game on their talent. But I really believe that sometimes we play tight and don't play loose. I heard a motivational speaker one time, Inky Johnson, and you may know him. He made this. He said there's a lot of skilled players that have the skill to win, but do you have the guts to fail? And I don't think we've been playing without those guts to fail. In that LSU game, Jalen Milroe went out and played his heart out. He had no worries. No worry about making a mistake. No worry about anything. Just go out and play. And in this game against Georgia, we're going to have that mentality. That's the starting point. If we don't have that mentality, then we can fail this game. We can lose this game on our own before we ever get started.
All right. Rapid fire. When it comes to this game, what's Alabama's keys to victory?
Well, number one, we got to stop the run. Number two, pressure the quarterback. Number three, don't make any pre-snap penalty mistakes.
We're going to do this tomorrow. I call it the comparison game. When you look at these two teams, where does Georgia have an advantage versus Alabama having an advantage? Georgia first.
I think Georgia has advantage because of they're undefeated. Feel like they're in. If they win, they don't have the pressure on them, I don't think, as Alabama does, because they've have a loss. Also has an advantage on the field with skilled players. I think their wide outs and their tight ends, I think, are an advantage based on the way they use them. So I think there's a big advantage for Georgia.
I would give them an advantage, and like I said, we'll compare this more tomorrow. I don't know that I give them advantage at wide receiver in terms of production. I think that they may have had bigger names, but I'm not sure that their wide receivers, person to person, is playing better. Clearly, tight end is better if he's healthy. So where does Alabama have an advantage?
I think Alabama has an advantage in the running game and the quarterback skill set. I think Alabama's quarterback skill set with running the ball and passing the ball is better than Georgia's. So I think they do, and I think Alabama has an advantage on defense on outside edge rushers. I think if there's any weakness in the Georgia, based I've seen on film, will be the tackles, and I think Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner can take advantage of that in this game.
What team will utilize Hugh Freeze's game plan the best? Will Georgia maximize what happened in the passing game against Alabama's defense, which is the same as Kirby's, or will Alabama be able to maximize what Auburn did against both Georgia and Alabama in the run game?
I think Alabama is going to learn more from this Auburn game than Georgia will, to be honestly. I think that is the least path of least resistance in this coming out of this game is Alabama to learn from it. I think Georgia has a little too much to try to add the wrinkles that Auburn did in order to take care of Alabama's, get them confused. I think Georgia will do it other ways in defense we've already talked about.
Yeah, and I think that when you watch it, Alabama has the skill sets that I think better skill sets in the quarterback, the offensive line, and the running backs to be able to pull off the run game easier than Georgia coming in and throwing in all of those different crossing routes and timing routes because you have to work on timing. It takes longer to get the timing down, but I expect them to use some of those changes. Okay, coordinators, Curtis Moore II says Bobo versus Kevin Steele.
I think Kevin Steele has the upper hand there. I really do. His experience and his ability to adapt and to overcome, I think, is better than Bobo's.
And then that last one is, I guess, Reese versus Schumacher.
Well, I think Georgia's defense has been good overall. And so I'm not, Reese, it depends on which Reese shows up. The one that called the LSU game or the one that called the pre-Tennessee game, South Florida game.
Kirby or Saban?
I think Saban has the upper hand. I really do, because I think on this side, Coach Saban has something that Kirby doesn't have, and that is that Coach Saban gets to play from the underdog role. He doesn't get that very often.
Alabama wins if
Alabama wins if we don't make any mistakes and let Milroe loose. Let him do his thing.
Yep. I think that it comes down to, I think talent is going to be pretty even on the field. I think it comes down to two things, coaching and execution, which coach puts their players in the best position to allow them to play and execute accordingly. So we'll be watching it. Running quarterbacks hurt both Alabama and Georgia. Advantage Bama. We'll talk more about the comparison game. We'll talk more about the college football playoffs tomorrow. DC, really quick, you see any changes in the CFB tonight?
I don't think so. I think it stays the same.
All right. I think there may be some slight changes. We'll talk about those. I think I would not be surprised if Oregon doesn't leapfrog Florida State. We'll see. And if Alabama's still sitting at 8, we might not get in. So we'll talk about it more tomorrow. Check DC Capstone report out. Thanks, DC. We'll catch you on next week. Hey, who you got winning, by the way?
I got Alabama winning this game, 31-28. I think Alabama does it.
All right, DC 31-28. What you got for Georgia total yards as I let you get out of here?
I got Georgia total yards 301.
All right. Roll Tide out there, DC and company. Thanks to all the callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters for being a part of the show. I'm Martin Houston. That's DC Capstone Report. That's Xavier Houston, Noah Haynes. Pressing all the right buttons. We'll be back tomorrow to keep the conversation going. Remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not in your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide out there, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.